You know what's crazy? The people who look down on you the most are often the ones who owe you everything. And they don't even know it. I'm about to tell you a story about a man who got thrown out of his own family's party because he showed up wearing simple clothes. Nothing fancy. No designer labels. Just regular, everyday clothes. And his family? They were so embarrassed by him that they kicked him out in front of everyone. But here's the thing they didn't know. He was the one paying for everything. The venue. The food. The drinks. Every single detail of that party. He was the secret investor behind it all. This story is going to show you how people judge based on appearances, how money can blind families, and how sometimes the quietest person in the room is actually the most powerful. If you've ever felt underestimated or looked down on by your own family, this one's for you. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see why keeping your success private might be the smartest move you ever make. Before we get into this, hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. It helps me bring you more stories like this one, real stories about real people who dealt with family drama, betrayal, and redemption. Your support means everything. Now let's get into it. So this guy, let's call him Marcus, grew up in a family that was all about status. His parents cared about what car you drove, what brand you wore, where you worked, and who you knew. Everything was about appearances. And Marcus? He was the black sheep. While his brothers and sisters went into flashy careers, becoming lawyers, doctors, real estate agents with expensive suits and luxury cars, Marcus went a different route. He started small. Really small. He worked odd jobs, saved every penny, and invested in local businesses. Nothing glamorous. No big offices. No fancy titles. Just quiet, smart investments. Over the years, Marcus built something his family had no idea about. A portfolio of properties, shares in restaurants, stakes in event venues, and partnerships in catering companies. He wasn't loud about it. He didn't post on social media. He didn't brag at family dinners. He just worked. And because he didn't show off, his family assumed he was struggling. They saw his simple clothes, his old car, his modest apartment, and they felt sorry for him. Or worse, they felt embarrassed. At family gatherings, they'd make little comments. Marcus, when are you going to get a real job? Or, you should really invest in some nicer clothes, you're representing the family. He'd just smile and let it go. Because Marcus knew something they didn't. He didn't need to prove anything to anyone. Then came the big family reunion party. His cousin Elena was organizing it. Elena loved throwing events. Big, extravagant, over-the-top events where everyone could show off. She rented out this beautiful venue, hired caterers, brought in a live band, decorated everything like it was a wedding. The whole family was invited. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even distant relatives nobody had seen in years. It was supposed to be this grand celebration of family unity. Marcus got the invitation just like everyone else. He didn't think much of it. He figured he'd show up, say hello to a few people, eat some food, and leave. He wasn't trying to make a scene. So on the day of the party, he put on what he always wore. A simple pair of jeans, a clean button-up shirt, and his regular sneakers. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing offensive. Just normal clothes. But the moment he walked into that venue, he could feel the stares. His aunt whispered something to his uncle. His brother looked him up and down and shook his head. His sister actually laughed and said, "Marcus, this is a formal event. Didn't you read the invitation?" He just shrugged and said, "I'm here to see the family, not to walk a runway." That didn't go over well. Elena, the cousin organizing everything, came up to him with this tight smile on her face. She pulled him aside and said, "Marcus, I need to talk to you. This is a high-class event. Everyone here dressed appropriately. You're making us look bad." Marcus looked around. Sure, people were dressed nice. Suits, dresses, heels. But it wasn't like this was the Oscars. It was a family party. He said, "Elena, I'm dressed fine. It's just family." She crossed her arms and said, "Exactly. It's family. And you're embarrassing us." Before Marcus could even respond, his brother David jumped in. David was always the golden child. Successful lawyer, big house, expensive everything. He said, "Come on, man. You couldn't even try? You show up looking like you just rolled out of bed. We have important people here. Business contacts. Friends. And you walk in looking like this?" Marcus stayed calm. He said, "I'm not here to impress anyone, David. I'm here because it's a family event." But David wasn't done. He raised his voice a little, loud enough for people nearby to hear. "You know what, Marcus? This is exactly why you'll never get ahead in life. You don't care about how you present yourself. You don't care about making connections. You just coast through life doing the bare minimum." Other family members started gathering around. Some were nodding along with David. Others just looked uncomfortable. Marcus could have said something. He could have told them right then and there who was really funding this whole party. But he didn't. He just looked at David and said, "If that's how you see me, then that's on you." Elena stepped in again. She looked stressed. She said, "Marcus, I'm sorry, but I think it's best if you leave. This event has a certain standard and you're not meeting it. I can't have you here making us look bad in front of everyone." Marcus stared at her. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. His own cousin was kicking him out of a family party because of his clothes. He looked around at the rest of the family, waiting for someone to speak up, waiting for someone to say this was ridiculous. But nobody did. His parents just looked away. His siblings stayed quiet. Even the cousins he grew up with didn't say a word. They all just stood there letting it happen. So Marcus nodded slowly. He said, "All right, if that's what you want." And he turned around and walked out. Just like that. No argument. No big scene. He left. As he walked to his car, he could hear the party continuing inside. Music playing. People laughing. Like nothing happened. Like he didn't even matter. And for a moment Marcus felt it. That sting of rejection. That feeling of being unwanted by the people who were supposed to be your family. But then he remembered something. He pulled out his phone and made a call. The person on the other end picked up immediately. "Hey Marcus, what's up?" It was Greg, the manager of the event venue. Marcus had invested in that venue 2 years ago. He was a silent partner. Nobody knew. He said, "Greg, I need you to do something for me." Now here's where the story gets interesting. Because Marcus wasn't just some random guy who got kicked out of a party. He was the guy who made that party possible. The venue? His investment. The catering company? He owned a share in it. The band playing? He helped fund their equipment through a small business loan program he ran. Even the decorations came from a company he had stakes in. Elena thought she planned this whole event herself, but the truth was, almost every vendor she hired was connected to Marcus in some way. And he never told anyone. Because Marcus didn't invest for recognition. He invested because it made smart financial sense. But now things were different. Greg listened as Marcus explained what happened. And Greg, being a good business partner, understood exactly what Marcus was asking. He said, "Say no more. I got you." Back inside the party, everything was going great. People were eating, drinking, dancing. Elena was walking around making sure everything was perfect. David was showing off to his colleagues. The whole family was having a good time. They'd already forgotten about Marcus. Then the music stopped. The band packed up their instruments mid-song and started walking out. Elena rushed over. "Wait, what are you doing? You're contracted for 3 more hours." The lead singer just said, "Contract's been terminated. We're done here." And they left. Elena stood there, confused. Then the catering staff started packing up the food. She ran over to them. "Excuse me, what's happening?" The head caterer said, "We received orders to shut down service immediately. Everything's been canceled." Elena's face went pale. Canceled? By who? Nobody would tell her. Then the venue manager, Greg, walked up to her with a clipboard. He said, "Elena, I'm going to need you to wrap this event up in the next 30 minutes. The venue's no longer available." She looked at him like he was crazy. "What are you talking about? I booked this place for the whole day. I have a contract." Greg nodded. "You do. But the owner has decided to terminate the agreement. You'll receive a full refund, but you need to leave." Elena's hands were shaking. "The owner? I've never even met the owner." "Who is the owner?" Greg smiled. "That information is confidential. But let's just say the owner was personally disrespected tonight, and they've decided they no longer want to host this event." The whole family was watching now. Confused. Panicking. The party was falling apart in real time. No music. No food. No venue. David came up trying to take charge. "This is unacceptable. We'll sue. You can't just kick us out." Greg didn't flinch. "You're welcome to try. But I'd recommend reading the contract. The owner reserves the right to terminate service at any time for any reason. It's all legal." People started gathering their things. Guests were leaving. The whole event was over. And Elena was standing in the middle of it all, trying to figure out what went wrong. That's when her phone rang. If you're hooked on this story right now, do me a favor. Drop a comment below telling me what you think Marcus should do next. Should he reveal everything or keep them guessing? And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button because stories like this don't show up everywhere. I put real effort into bringing you content that's actually worth watching. Let's keep going. Elena looked at her phone. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something told her to pick up. Hello? The voice on the other end was calm, professional. Good evening, Miss Elena. This is Rachel from Prestige Catering Services. I'm calling to inform you that your account has been flagged for immediate review, and we've been instructed to cease all services effective immediately. Elena's heart dropped. What? I paid everything up front. Rachel continued. Yes, you did. And you'll be refunded in full. However, the decision came from higher management. I'm not at liberty to discuss the details, but I wanted to give you a courtesy call. Elena hung up and stared at her phone. This couldn't be happening. She looked around at her family, all of them standing there with confused faces, holding plates of half-eaten food, watching vendors pack up and leave. Her perfect party was crumbling right in front of her eyes. David walked over. What's going on, Elena? Who was that? She shook her head. I don't know. Everything's being shut down. The catering, the venue, everything. They won't tell me why. David pulled out his own phone. This is insane. Let me call my contact at the venue. I know people. We'll sort this out. But when David called, he got the same answer. Terminated. No explanation. Just a polite, we're sorry for the inconvenience, and a promise of a refund. Meanwhile, Marcus was sitting in his car in the parking lot, watching the whole thing unfold through the large windows of the venue. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't celebrating. He was just watching. Watching his family scramble. Watching them panic. Watching them realize that their perfect little party wasn't so perfect after all. His phone buzzed. A text from Greg. Everything's shut down. They're leaving in 20 minutes. You good? Marcus typed back. Yeah, thanks. He sat there for a moment thinking. Part of him felt bad. These were still his family members. His blood. But another part of him, the part that had been looked down on for years, the part that had been dismissed and disrespected over and over again, that part felt something else. Vindication. Because here's the truth. Marcus had spent years being the invisible one. The one nobody took seriously. The one they pitted at best and mocked at worst. And he never corrected them. He never defended himself. He just kept building. Kept investing. Kept growing. And now, in one night, they were all seeing what happens when you underestimate the wrong person. But Marcus wasn't done yet. Inside the venue, Elena was on the verge of tears. Her mother came up to her, trying to comfort her. Sweetheart, it's okay. These things happen. We can reschedule. But Elena knew better. This wasn't just bad luck. Something was off. She looked at David. Do you think someone did this on purpose? David frowned. What do you mean? Elena lowered her voice. Think about it. The band, the caterers, the venue all at the same time? That's not a coincidence. Someone wanted this party to fail. David looked around. Who would do that? And that's when Elena's mind went to Marcus. She remembered how they kicked him out. How embarrassed he looked. How he just walked away without saying anything. She grabbed David's arm. Marcus. David laughed. Marcus? Come on. What's he going to do? He doesn't have that kind of pull. But Elena wasn't so sure. She pulled out her phone and called Marcus. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Then he picked up. Hey, Elena. His voice was calm. Too calm. Elena tried to keep her voice steady. Marcus, where are you? I'm around. Why? She hesitated. Did you have something to do with what's happening right now? There was a pause. Then Marcus said, What's happening right now? Elena felt her frustration rising. Don't play dumb with me, Marcus. The venue shut down. The catering stopped. The band left. Everything fell apart right after you left. That's not a coincidence. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, You kicked me out of a family party because of my clothes, Elena? You really think I have the power to shut down an entire event? She didn't know what to say, because when he put it like that, it did sound ridiculous. Marcus was just Marcus, the family underdog, the one who never amounted to much, right? Marcus continued. Look, I'm sorry your party didn't work out, but that's got nothing to do with me. Maybe you should have planned better. And then he hung up. Elena stared at her phone. She wanted to believe him. But something in his tone, the way he stayed so calm, so unbothered, it made her uneasy. David came back over. What did he say? Elena shook her head. He denied it. But I don't believe him. David scoffed. Elena, you're being paranoid. Marcus doesn't have connections like that. He's barely scraping by. There's no way he could pull something like this off. But Elena couldn't shake the feeling. She walked over to where Greg, the venue manager, was standing. Excuse me, Can I ask you something? Greg looked up from his clipboard. Sure. Elena chose her words carefully. You said the owner terminated the contract. Can you tell me anything about the owner? Have they ever done something like this before? Greg smiled politely. The owner values privacy. But I can tell you this. They're very particular about respect. And when they feel disrespected, they don't hesitate to make decisions. Elena's stomach turned. Disrespected how? Greg shrugged. I couldn't say. But if I were you, I'd think about who you might have upset tonight. And with that, he walked away. Elena stood there, frozen. Her mind was racing. Could it really be Marcus? Could the guy they all looked down on actually be the one pulling the strings? She looked over at her parents. They were talking to some of the guests, apologizing, trying to save face. She looked at David, who was already on his phone trying to find another venue. She looked at all her cousins, her aunts, her uncles, all of them confused and frustrated. And then she made a decision. She walked outside to the parking lot. She scanned the area looking for Marcus's car. And there it was, parked in the corner. And Marcus was still sitting inside. Elena walked up and knocked on the window. Marcus rolled it down. Elena, what's up? She looked him in the eyes. Tell me the truth. Did you do this? Marcus leaned back in his seat. He didn't answer right away. He just looked at her. Really looked at her. And for the first time, Elena saw something in his eyes she'd never noticed before. Confidence. Control. Power. Finally, Marcus said, You want the truth? Elena nodded. Marcus smiled. Just a little. You kicked me out of a family party because I wasn't dressed fancy enough. You made me feel like I didn't belong. Like I wasn't good enough. And you did it in front of everyone. Elena's voice was shaking now. Marcus, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. He held up a hand. Let me finish. You and everyone in there have spent years treating me like I'm less than. Like I'm the failure of the family. And I let you. Because I didn't need your approval. I was building something bigger than any of you realized. Elena's eyes widened. So it was you. Marcus didn't confirm or deny. He just said, you wanted a high-class event. You wanted everything to be perfect. You wanted to impress people. But you forgot something. The people who make those events happen. They're not just vendors. They're business owners, investors, partners. And some of them have standards too. Elena felt her legs go weak. Marcus, please, just tell me. Are you the owner of the venue? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he said, I'm a silent partner in a lot of businesses, Elena. The venue. The catering company. Even the band's equipment was funded through a program I run. I don't advertise it. I don't brag about it. I just do the work. Elena couldn't believe what she was hearing. So you've been rich this whole time? Marcus shook his head. I'm not rich. I'm smart. There's a difference. I invest. I build. I create opportunities. And I do it quietly. Because I don't need people to know. I don't need the attention. Elena's mind was spinning. Then why did you let us treat you like that? Why didn't you ever say anything? Marcus's expression softened just a little. Because I wanted to see who you all really were. And tonight I got my answer. Elena felt tears welling up. Marcus, I'm so sorry. We were wrong. I was wrong. Please, can you fix this? Can you bring everything back? I'll apologize to everyone. I'll make it right. Marcus looked at her. And for a second she thought he might actually help. But then he said, Elena, you can't fix years of disrespect with one apology. This isn't about the party. This is about how you see people. How you value people. And until you change that, nothing I do will matter. He started his car. Elena stepped back, panicking. Wait, Marcus, please. But he was already pulling out of the parking spot. He rolled up his window and drove away, leaving Elena standing there in the parking lot, watching his taillights disappear into the night. She walked back inside. The venue was almost empty now. Just family members left, gathering their things, whispering to each other. David saw her come in and walked over. Did you find him? Elena nodded slowly. Yeah, I found him. And? She looked at her brother. David, we messed up. We really messed up. David frowned. What are you talking about? Elena took a deep breath. Marcus owns the venue. He's invested in the catering company, the band, everything. He's been funding businesses all over the city and we had no idea. David's face went pale. What? Elena nodded. He's not struggling. He never was. He's just quiet about it. And we treated him like garbage. Okay, pause for a second. If you're feeling this story right now, I need you to do something. Smash that like button because this is getting wild and I want to know you're still with me. Also, drop a comment and tell me if you think Marcus is doing the right thing or if he's going too far. I read every single comment and I love hearing what you think. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss stories like this. Alright, let's finish this. David stood there, staring at Elena like she just told him the sky was green. You're joking. Elena shook her head. I'm not. He told me himself. He's a silent partner in all of this. And we just kicked him out like he was nobody. David ran his hand through his hair. This doesn't make any sense. Marcus drives an old car. He lives in a regular apartment. He wears normal clothes. How is he investing in businesses? Elena's voice was barely a whisper. Because he doesn't care about showing off, David? He's been doing this quietly for years, and we were too busy judging him to notice. The reality of what they'd done started sinking in. David looked around at the rest of the family, all of them packing up, complaining about the ruined party. None of them knew. None of them had any idea that the person they just humiliated was the reason this party even existed in the first place. David pulled out his phone. I'm calling him. He dialed Marcus's number. Rang, and rang, and rang. Then voicemail. David tried again. Voicemail. He sent a text. Marcus, we need to talk. Please call me back. Nothing. Elena's mother walked over. What's going on? Why does everyone look so serious? Elena didn't know how to explain it. Mom, we made a mistake. A big one. Her mother frowned. What kind of mistake? Before Elena could answer, her father joined them. I just talked to the venue manager. He said the owner shut everything down because someone at this party offended them. Does anyone know what he's talking about? Elena and David exchanged looks. Elena spoke up. Dad, it was Marcus. We kicked Marcus out and he's the one who owns this place. Her father blinked. Marcus? Our Marcus. David nodded. He's been investing in businesses all over the city. The venue, the catering, the band. He's involved in all of it. And we had no idea. Their father's face changed. The color drained from it. He sat down in one of the chairs looking stunned. Marcus did all this? Elena nodded. And we treated him like he was nothing. Her mother looked confused. But he never said anything. He never told us he was doing well. How were we supposed to know? David's voice was sharp. Maybe because we should have asked Mom? Maybe because we should have cared enough to actually talk to him instead of just assuming he was a failure. The room went silent. Their father spoke quietly. I need to call him. He pulled out his phone and dialed. But just like with David, it went straight to voicemail. He tried again. Same thing. He looked at his wife. He's not answering. Elena felt sick. What do we do? David was pacing now. We find him. We go to his apartment. We explain. We apologize. Their father stood up. Let's go. Right now. The three of them left the venue and drove across town to Marcus's apartment. It was a modest building. Nothing fancy. They parked outside and went up to his floor. David knocked on the door. Marcus, it's David. Open up. We need to talk. No answer. Elena knocked. Marcus, please. We're sorry. We messed up. Just let us explain. Still nothing. Their father tried. Son, it's your father. Open the door. We want to talk. They stood there for 10 minutes, knocking, calling out, but Marcus never opened the door. Either he wasn't home or he was ignoring them. Either way, they weren't getting in. David kicked the wall in frustration. This is ridiculous. Elena pulled out her phone. I'm texting him. She typed out a long message. Apologizing. Explaining. Begging for a chance to make things right. She hit send and waited. The message showed as delivered. Then read. But no response. They stood there in the hallway feeling helpless. Finally, their father said, Let's go home. We'll try again tomorrow. They left. But as they drove away, none of them could shake the feeling that they'd lost something they couldn't get back. The next morning, Marcus woke up in his apartment. He'd seen all the missed calls, all the texts, all the desperate messages from his family. And he'd ignored every single one. Not because he was angry, but because he needed them to feel what he'd felt for years. Invisible. Unimportant. Dismissed. He made himself coffee and sat by the window looking out at the city. His phone buzzed again. Another text from Elena. He didn't even read it. He just set the phone down and took a sip of his coffee. A few hours later, there was a knock at his door. Marcus looked through the peephole. It was his father. Alone this time. Marcus hesitated, then opened the door. His father looked tired. Older somehow. "Marcus, can I come in?" Marcus stepped aside and let him in. They sat down in the small living room. For a moment, neither of them said anything. Finally, his father spoke. "I'm sorry, son." Marcus looked at him. "For what?" His father's voice cracked a little. "For not seeing you. For not asking. For assuming. For letting everyone treat you the way they did." Marcus stayed quiet. His father continued. "Your mother and I, we thought you were struggling. We thought you needed help. And instead of asking, we just felt sorry for you. Or worse, we felt embarrassed. And that was wrong." Marcus finally spoke. "You want to know the truth, Dad? I didn't need your pity. I didn't need your approval. I was fine. I am fine. But it would have been nice if just once, someone in this family looked at me and saw me for who I actually am. Not who you assumed I was." His father nodded. "You're right. And I'm sorry. We all are." Marcus leaned back. "Dad, I'm not mad. I'm just done. I'm done trying to prove myself to people who've already decided who I am. I built something real. Something solid. And I did it without anyone's help. And honestly, that feels better than any validation you could give me now." His father looked at him with tears in his eyes. "So what now? You just cut us all off?" Marcus shook his head. "I'm not cutting anyone off. But I'm also not going to keep showing up to places where I'm not wanted. If you want a relationship with me, it has to be real. Not because you found out I have money. Not because you feel guilty. But because you actually care." His father stood up. He walked over to Marcus and put a hand on his shoulder. "I do care, son. I always have. I just didn't show it the right way. And I'm going to do better. I promise." Marcus looked up at him. And for the first time in a long time, he saw something genuine in his father's eyes. "Okay, Dad. I'll hold you to that." His father nodded and left. Over the next few weeks, things changed. Slowly. David called and apologized. Really apologized. Not just a quick sorry, but a real conversation about how he'd been wrong. Elena reached out too. She admitted she cared too much about appearances and not enough about people. Even his mother called, crying, saying she wished she'd been a better mom. Marcus didn't forgive everyone right away. But he listened. And over time he started to rebuild those relationships. On his terms. With boundaries. With respect. As for the rest of the family, the ones who never reached out, who never apologized, Marcus let them go. He didn't hold grudges. He just moved on. Because he realized something important. You can't force people to value you. All you can do is value yourself and surround yourself with people who do the same. Marcus kept investing. Kept building. Kept growing. But he also started being a little more open about his success. Not to brag, but to inspire. He started mentoring young entrepreneurs. Helping people who reminded him of himself. People who were underestimated. Overlooked. Dismissed. And you know what? That became his legacy. Not the money. Not the businesses. But the lives he changed by showing people that quiet success is still success. That you don't need to be loud to be powerful. That the people who doubt you don't define you. Marcus never went back to another family party that didn't feel genuine. He showed up to the ones that mattered. The small ones. The real ones. The ones where people actually cared about being together, not just looking good. And every time someone new met Marcus, wearing his simple clothes, driving his regular car, living in his modest apartment, they'd make the same mistake his family did. They'd underestimate him. And Marcus would just smile. Because he knew something they didn't. Real power doesn't need to announce itself. It just is. So here's what you can take from this story. Don't judge people based on what they show you. Because the quietest person in the room might be the most powerful. The person with the least flashy lifestyle might be the most successful. And the one you're ignoring might be the one you'll regret underestimating. Marcus didn't need revenge. He didn't need to embarrass his family publicly. All he did was remove his support. And that was enough. Because when you're the foundation and people don't realize it, the moment you step away, everything falls apart. And sometimes that's the only lesson people will understand. Respect isn't about clothes. It's not about cars or titles or how much noise you make. Respect is about recognizing someone's worth regardless of how they present themselves. And if you can't do that, don't be surprised when the people you overlook turn out to be the ones holding all the cards. Marcus learned to value himself when nobody else did. And that made all the difference. He didn't wait for approval. He didn't wait for recognition. He just built. And in the end, that's what mattered. The family learned their lesson the hard way. But they learned it. And the ones who truly cared made things right. The ones who didn't? Well, they're still out there, probably underestimating someone else. And one day they'll learn too. As for Marcus, he's doing just fine. Better than fine, actually. He's living life on his own terms, surrounded by people who value him, investing in things that matter, and proving every single day that success doesn't have to be loud to be real. So the next time you're at a family gathering, or any gathering really, and you see someone who doesn't fit the mold, who isn't dressed to impress, who isn't trying to be the center of attention, think twice before you judge them. Because you never know who you're really talking to. And you definitely don't want to find out the hard way. If this story hit different for you, make sure you're subscribed because I've got more coming your way.